Today, I'll be talking about the anime The Great Cleric by Studio Cloud Hearts and Yokohama Animation Lab. It follows a former salaryman who dies suddenly and gets reincarnated as Lucille, a healer in a world driven by greed. Instead of chasing power or status, he chooses to live selflessly, training relentlessly and working under the Adventurers Guild to help people no matter the cost. I'm playing the Attack on Titan tribute game while we'll dive into overall vibes, world building, character dynamics, and more. Let's start with my first thought. The first thing that drew me to The Great Cleric when I first watched it was probably the aspect that healers aren't well liked in this world. They're more like corrupted. So that drew me in because I was excited to see how the character would, despite being a healer or has the capabilities of being a healer, would react to the world that he's in terms of actually healing people because it's the right thing to do, not for monetary gain. So I was actually kind of excited to see how that plays out in this show here. Oh, nice. I did like the salaryman angle. Then again, it's not really an angle unique to this show. There's lots of shows with salaryman in it, or salarymen in it, who die from overwork or some other forms. In general, I mainly started this show just to have something to pass the time with. Something that isn't too plot heavy, that requires a lot of analytical thinking. Something just chill, which I want to say this show actually kind of delivered. But yeah, to conclude that noise, I would say the main thing that drew me was the aspect of the healers being corrupted individuals, but then here we have a character from our world who just wants to help, which is something very foreign to the local populace of the world. So I was excited to see how they would react to seeing a healer who generally want to help the people around them. Which brings me to my next thought of the overall tone of the series. I want to say it's very grind-focused. Like, I've never seen an Isekai protagonist work so hard to get where they're at. From what I recall, the only gifts the main character received was high luck. Actually, can't remember, actually. All I remember is that one of the abilities or like the gifts they were given before they got reincarnated was that they received high luck or mad luck. And there is a saying that success is when luck meets preparation. So seeing Lucille, who's the main character of the show, spend a lot of time grinding and getting better, studying and all that, then combining his grind set with his gifted luck was actually interesting to see play out, to see how Lucille succeeds throughout the show. I don't know, it's just interesting to see that statement in action in this show. So in general, I think because of that, the overall vibes of the show was kinda chill, comedic. Maybe in some cases, maybe a little bit realistic, I guess. I don't know, I just kinda like the overall vibe of the show. Nothing too serious. Another thought I had was how this Isekai stands out from other Isekai anime that I've seen. I think the main difference with the show compared to other Isekais I've seen is how much time passes for the main character. Because I really liked how at the start of the series the main character has relatively short hair. Then after he grinds for like years and studies up and practices and trains, he starts to grow a bit of a ponytail. So it's nice to see, oh god. How'd I miss? But yeah, it was nice to see how... Oh god, let me kill this Titan first. How did that miss? I'm gonna die. Come on, 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 come on. we go, finally. Yeah, I think the main thing that this show stands out amongst other isekais is the fact that the main character isn't inherently overpowered. I say inherently, but the way he does wind up being overpowered is the fact that he doesn't stop working 24/7. He becomes an absolute workaholic, and because he's such a workaholic, he winds up getting strong because of how much he's practiced. It's like One Punch Man in a sense. You're seeing him train like throughout the entire week, non-stop, every single day, and him being rewarded with such great abilities was actually a nice little difference compared to other isekai out there where they are just given the abilities straight up, like swordplay abilities, magic and all that. Seeing Lucille actually practice martial arts, swordplay, practicing magic too, his mana capacity, or upping his mana capacity, doing meditations. Just all of that accumulating into the character he is. Was really fun. And kind of inspiring as well. Kind of reminded me of Moomin Rider's Resolve in some cases. So yeah, I really like the fact that this anime didn't really have an instant overpowered dominance, if that makes sense. It was kind of worked at throughout the whole show. It reminded me of Knights of Magic, where the character isn't inherently overpowered. And heck, I don't even think the character is overpowered in Knights of Magic. The reason they got so strong in their world is because their enthusiasm to work. So yeah, I think this show really reminded me of Knights of Magic in some cases. Okay, so now the next thoughts I'm gonna have will be touching into mild spoiler territory, so spoilers alert going forwards. So I guess if you haven't watched the show yet, give it a watch, maybe come back to this video, and we can continue from there. In terms of Lucille as a protagonist early on, I really liked how he applied his work ethic from a previous life. Because seeing him dismayed that he'll never get that work promotion in the old world because of his untimely death really motivated him to do well in this next one. Seeing him just fired up just to do the things he wasn't able to achieve previously was really fun. Because I really like seeing characters succeed after a lot of work being put in. So seeing a character given another chance to redeem themselves, even though whatever happened to them wasn't their fault, it was nice to see. Kinda chill, comfy. General, overall, nice ride. This also made me think about how I felt about the Adventurers Guild training arc. It was really fun to see the absolute hell Lucille has been put through to get to where he was in terms of physical combat, being trained by Brod in the Adventurers Guild for like pretty much 3/4 of the entire anime. To the point where other adventurers see him as an overworking zombie. I know. It was really inspiring to see an isekai protagonist just, in general, suffer in a peaceful setting, if that makes sense, in the hopes of getting better. So I really did love the camaraderie Lucille and Brod had, and the mentorship dynamics as well. Seeing Brod's tough love on Lucille throughout the show play out, despite the hell he puts Lucille through. Yeah, I really like that aspect of the show. The physical improvement elements of it. It's like going to the gym and all that. Especially for a quote-unquote overpowered isekai too. Yeah, speaking of Broad, my overall impressions of him, that he has a very strict mentor energy and almost like warrior-like discipline. And like I said before, he definitely had a tough love approach on Lucille, which I am happy to find that Lucille definitely notices that aspect of Broad, the tough love aspect. Like, despite all the hell Broad puts him through, Lucille is really appreciative of him, putting the time in to help Lucille improve. I really like that aspect of Broad and the relationship the two of them had. And another thing I was thinking about was actually the general world building and how healing magic is treated in the world. Like, in other isekais, it's really a rarity to see healing magic being treated like this corrupt act, or how should I say it? As something unkind rather than something hopeful. It's like the American health system. Oh dear. Like, I really loved how at the start of the series everyone was at odds with Lucille to begin with. But after Lucille started healing people for cheap or for free in some cases, it was really nice to see everyone open up to Lucille despite the world portraying healers as extremely corrupt, even though there is one such healer that isn't so. To seeing the adventurers open up to Lucille and accept him as even though he was a healer, it's actually a really nice chill relationship or dynamic. And it was also fun to see Lucille be at odds with the other corrupt healers. I also loved how everyone that Lucille healed throughout the show had his entire support. I love the moment when Lucille finally exits that dungeon after like years or like months. Everyone who knew him was really worried for him, and they thought that the healing capital what kept him hostage or something. To the point riots started happening. To see everyone supportive of Lucille to the point that they would actually riot in front of the healer's headquarters to that extent. It was actually really nice to see. Kind of healing. Ironically. Now, in terms of side characters, the one, in my opinion, that left the strongest impression to me, I can't remember what her name was. It was the shopkeeper that sold Lucille various healing equipment and weapons while he went on that dungeon raid. What was her name? Catalea? Catalea? I think it was Catalea. But yeah, her. I really liked how initially she kind of waved off Lucille as just another healer just to do the exorcism in a dungeon. But later on, after Lucille does many exploits in said dungeon and achieves things that no other healer has achieved before him, it was nice to see her slowly open up to Lucille, as well as worry for him when Lucille disappears for extended periods. I especially loved how that one time, or like when Lucille finally conquered the dungeon, he was gone for like 6 months. He goes back to the shop to announce his return, and Cattleya immediately throws some knives at him, thinking he was a ghost. But as soon as she reaffirms that Lucille is indeed there, she doesn't hesitate to go charge in and hug Lucille. I thought that was a really nice moment. There we go. I especially loved how the adventurers also had Lucille's back throughout the show as well, after Lucille initially... Oh god. After Lucille healed their friends from the brink of death. Because initially they treated Lucille kind of negatively initially, but it was until Lucille healed their friends they started to open up and start to respect him even though he was a healer. So yeah, it was just nice to see the characters around Lucille transform themselves in terms of how they treat Lucille after his exploits. Speaking about the balance between combat, politics, and slice-of-life moments, I quite like how balanced this show was in terms of portraying all those aspects. It was pretty cool to see how this show allowed each of those to shine in their own ways during various arcs and episodes. Like, I enjoyed how the first parts of the show, the trading arc and the Adventurers Guild, was more slice-of-lifey. From learning how to cook monsters, training in the arena, studying up on magic. It was actually kinda peaceful, which I quite liked. Like Lucille had a routine during those montages, the training arcs. And then partway through that, in the midpoint of the series, that's when the politics started coming in, when Lucille kind of incurred the wrath of a fellow healer, which caused Lucille to oh god. Yeah, which caused Lucille to essentially move out of the Adventurers Guild due to the political happenings with the corrupt healers. So I thought that was a little neat moment as well. Not really the focus, really, but it was nice to see a political element show up at some form or another. Probably misremembering a lot of things in terms of the politics of the show. But in terms of combat, I did like how that was portrayed in the latter halves of the show when Lucille was tasked with exercising every mob in that dungeon. From all the bosses, the cannon fodder. It was nice to see action in that regard, hearing his internal thoughts, as well as seeing how things play out. And the payoff of all his training. Because he ended up surprising a lot of healers in that arc, in the dungeon arc. Because more often than not, the healers tend to use just their magic spells when it comes to dealing with those monsters or exercising them. But because of Lucille's experience with the Adventurers Guild, he winds up actually using regular weapons in the process. Oh, that was so close. So it's kind of intriguing to see the other healers react in such a manner. Seeing a foreign entity fight in a way that they're not used to. Speaking of fighting, I did like how the show... I did like how despite all this, all of the training Lucille went through, he's still not overpowered in the grand scheme of things. Because even after his training in the Guild Hall, or the Adventurers Hall, he still required training from one of the paladins of the show, which he very much struggled with. But at the end of it, he was really appreciative of how they also helped him improve. Heck, I don't even think Lucille is even the strongest person in the show in general. Because he still wasn't able to defeat Rob by the end of it, I don't think. still got beat up quite heavily, even after their little reunion by the end of the show, which I thought was pretty interesting. So in terms of my final thought, in terms of what I think the story is really about beneath the surface, I think the main thing that comes to my mind is definitely work ethic, and how it might not always pay off in the end. Because despite Lucille working so hard to get strong, he's still not the strongest in the world itself. But despite that, he still pushes on to do the things that he wants to do anyways. Even if some people may be able to do things better than he can, than even he can. So I think seeing someone have the work ethic to push on no matter what, even if the results still mean they won't be the best at what they want to do. I think that's what the message of the show generally is. In my opinion anyways. I'm sure that there are many other ways to interpret the show. Yeah, I think I really enjoyed the show in general. Had a lot of moments like seeing people react to Lucille being a nice healer, seeing Lucille improve, get stronger, seeing people surprised at Lucille at his unorthodox methods. Yeah, those are my thoughts there for this show here. I'm also intrigued to see what your thoughts are on this show, if you have any. So be sure to leave some comments down in the comment section below. I always look forward to those. And if you enjoyed this video here, be sure to hit like and subscribe as per usual. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.